Zaf Shah is a businessman from Bradford. He's come in this morning to talk about the effect of 7/7. How's life changed then over the last 5 years?
It's put a spotlight, an unnecessary spotlight on the Muslim community.
Is anybody reacting to you as you walk through the streets?
Not me personally, but I can imagine. I mean, even I will react in my own mind when I see a Muslim that's been born and raised here who's dressing like an Arab, and he's not an Arab. So that obviously to me would... So if that raises a doubt or a question in my mind, how would a non-Muslim be feeling if he or she is walking past that person when after 7/7 there was this profiling going on of Muslims, the beard, wearing the jubbah, the women wearing the jilbab, the ladies wearing the niqab, all these things. And now people are aware of all these identities, that is what a Muslim looks like. So it's almost like this community is being singled out.
When you were growing up, was there any talk of unrest, unhappiness, anything that could lead you into this life that the bombers chose?
I wouldn't say talk of unrest. There was the us and them attitude that the wider society, which is a non-Muslim society, we cannot get too involved in it. And some people say to me, Zaf, you're speaking too much of the truth here, and letting them know our secrets, if you like. Well, that's fact. I was taught not to trust the white man in inverted commas. I was taught not to go anywhere near white girls because they're dirty. I was taught all these things by my community. My parents decided in their infinite wisdom that to straighten me out as an 18-year-old male who was going off the rails was to send me to Pakistan. And I spent some time in the madrasa there. In the madrasa, they're teaching you a particular version of the Quran in their own little method, in their own particular school of thought. And that school of thought then is embedded in your mind and your head, and you come back with this view that everything about the West is evil.
Can you therefore see where our fear comes from, not understanding your community? When you're willing to admit that, I do have a reason to fear, because I think the reason you didn't choose to blow me up was because you've got a brain in your head and you've got your eyes open and can see actually we're all the same. For those people perhaps who aren't as smart as you, they could take this other path and believe this indoctrination and take it to the next level.
That is, I completely understand why there's a fear, but I also believe there are many Muslims now who are actively challenging that rhetoric and challenging that ideology, because that ideology has no place in Islam. Islam and terror don't even sound right together.
Could that still happen today? Are there still families sending their 18-year-old lads abroad to Pakistan to be taught about the West and the fear that you should have of it?
There are many children, young people, being sent to Pakistan to straighten children out, and I feel that creates an identity crisis. And when it creates an identity crisis, that person then comes back here not knowing who or she is. And if the parent didn't understand who that person was, then the street will happily take them on and teach them about life. And in the street, sadly, there are those people who have these thoughts.
You see, there'll be those listening to me now who are free to ring in 0845 303 3333, or you can text 81333, start your message with Leeds, standard rate supply, who will say, you're in a Christian country, predominantly white, your emphasis should be to embed yourself in our community, not the other way around. And from what you're saying to me, if the older generation are putting fear in the youngsters, that's an immediate barrier that certainly I can't fight.
I agree. I have absolute no issue in saying to people and to myself that we've got to play a much greater role in becoming a part of this society, because... Are
you speaking out of turn, by the way? If your community heard this conversation, are you some form of traitor in having this honest debate?
Some would say it's about time somebody came out and spoke the truth. Some would say Zaf is politically dangerous, and some would say Zaf is a sellout. Now, they can choose to think any one of those three, but I'm very clear that when we live in a society that is so accepting of our faith, that is so accepting in the sense that there are nearly 80 mosques in Bradford, and so accepting that we have halal meat in nearly every school, we can wear what we like, we can dress how we wish, we can pray wherever we like. Hold on a second, where's the issue?
Exactly. Where is the issue? Why are they so fearful, your community, of white people? Why should you fear?
My father came in the 50s, one of the first migrants in Bradford. If you look at where they are in society in terms of jobs within the public sector, chief execs of the NHS, for example, chief execs of the Bradford Council, they are all non-Muslims or non-BME people. Now, I'm trying to say to myself, well, we've been here 50 years. Have we not managed to find a individual that can potentially take on that role? So that then is why they say, well, we've tried for 50 years to get into a positions of power in society, and we can't. They're not discriminated to your face, but there is some institutional racism going on.
Are you average, Zaf? Are you the average Muslim male that thinks like this, or are you the minority?
I'd like to think I'm the average Muslim male that thinks like this.
You'd like to think,
I'd like to
but
think
are
that.
you?
We don't. I don't hear it often enough.
So you're not average. So what you're saying is the majority of your community have more of an issue with us than we do with them.
The majority of the community who want to be a voice and want to be heard, sadly, are not heard. So there are many out there. What they'll say to me when I go back to Bradford is, Zaf, well said, but they won't actually go out and say the same things.
The first text is, oh dear, these poor Muslims being singled out. Maybe if they stopped blowing us up, things would change. You could say that's an ignorant texter, or you could say that's the common opinion. It's hard to have sympathy, isn't it, when we see 52 people lying dead, being marched through the streets down to 4 Muslim men from our area. How do you counter that?
I don't think it was an ignorant text. I think she is a view that's becoming more and more common amongst the non-Muslims, that we're now beginning to play the martyr role in society. Now, for me, I think we now have a duty as Muslims to go out there and if we meet a non-Muslim, to share with them the positivity about our faith and that Islam is non-violent, Islam is not spread by violent means, and that these people, we need to come out much, much more powerfully, if you like, that when something like this happens, we have to condemn it in the most descriptive way we can as a community.
I'm going to play you a clip from Lisa, who we're going to hear from in a couple of moments from now. She was on the 30 bus in Tavistock Square 5 years ago today, about now, when that first bomb went off. She's got an interesting take on the bombers and how she feels about them. Let's listen to that now.
I can only imagine those boys felt desperate, and I can never condone them. I would never defend them. What they did was horrific. However, I know I've never felt, I can't imagine what they were feeling to have had to feel that their only choice was what they did that day.
You see, the point I put to her was the desperation that leads you to putting a backpack on with a bomb. I think you've got to be either bonkers or at the end of your tether. Which way do you see it?
Neither. Because if we remember the image of one of the bombers whose bomb didn't go off on the tube, he was as calm and as cool as a cucumber. So to me, he knew exactly what he was doing, but he believed in what he was doing, which for me was, he felt so aggrieved by the atrocities across the world committed against Muslims by the West, if I may use that term, that the West are the enemy, and that killing people in London, innocent people, is going to take him into heaven, and that killing those people, if a Muslim is killed there, if a non-Muslim is killed there, it's irrelevant, it's collateral damage. Because that's what he's probably been hearing across the world when a bomb goes off in Afghanistan.
With the greatest respect, there's got to be an element of bonkersness there with that, because it's so irrational. I've done nothing to your community. I'm just going on the bus, the number 30, into work, minding my own business, and he's sat there blowing himself up. That's the issue, is where this anger comes from and why it's targeted at people on the 30 bus in London. That's where people struggle to understand. Is this just getting the most publicity? Is that what it's about? More than the target of the bus or London or any place, you're going to get more headlines doing it in the capital of England than you are doing it, for example, in the capital of somewhere we've never heard of.
I think there will have been an element of that they will create this much more attention of what our problems are. Then they're going to start looking deeper into the issue, why these men decided that they could put on these bombs and travel from Leeds right to London and do it in the heart of the capital to people that are minding their own business. But then a Muslim with these kind of grievances will turn around and say, well, what happens when a bomb goes off in Afghanistan or Iraq? Who mourns those people who are just going about their daily day-to-day activities? So they'll use that as their excuse, because well, you've killed ours, we'll kill yours.
Are men like these that did what they did 5 years ago still in our community today?
Yes.
Should I be in fear?
No. You should not let these people rule you.
But these people are blowing us up. So if you're saying they're still in our community, why shouldn't I fear?
What we need to do is, I'm hoping our intelligence communities will pick these people up, and I'm hoping those people that know of these people within our midst, and they should report them.
I want to leave you with this text that's come in this morning Zaf should be proud of his honesty and openness. I commend him. I've learnt more about the Muslim community and their beliefs than I've ever heard before. Loving the programme. Best regards, Mary in Wakefield. Can't sum it up better than that, can you?
No, I think that's fantastic. And when I hear comments like that give me the energy and enthuse me even more to continue with my work, because I know there are many people out there who want to just live and be peaceful and live together.
Zaf Shah, live on BBC Radio Leeds.
The sad